Welcome to the Anywhere office.
And then point number 3, which I've kind of touched on already, which is just stability of the operating system and the software. And I think in large part it goes for the fact that the Mac creates the hardware and the software that runs together. So there's just fewer errors. It's just a more stable operating system. It's a more stable software that I'm using. I'm not getting blue screens and DLL errors. I just, on a weekly basis, I was troubleshooting things on my Windows PC. Vista was a travesty. Finally switched to Windows 7, much more stable operating system. Loved XP, but the bottom line was, on a weekly basis, I was on Google searching for errors, how to troubleshoot this, how to fix this, and I have had very little of that on the Mac. I've searched for how to do some things because there's a learning curve and there's a shift. There's different ways to do things on a Mac than a PC. One last thing that has allowed me to make this switch from the Windows PC to the Mac is the fact that, and this is kind of a twofold thing. One is that the Macs that you get today, if you buy a Mac today, it has an Intel chip in it, which means that you can run Windows either dual boot. You can, when you start up, choose to run Windows or Mac, and if you want to, you could install Windows XP or Windows Vista or Windows 7 to do that, or in a window, once you're in your Mac operating system, within a window, you could launch what's called a virtual machine and run the Windows software, and again, run XP or Vista or Windows 7 in there. So essentially, it's a no-loss situation. I can run Windows and the Mac OS, Windows and Mac programs on my Mac. Can I do that on a PC? No. There is no way that I know of on a Windows PC to run the Mac OS and the Mac software. But on a Mac computer, I can run Windows. So I get the best of both worlds. It sure costs a little more for the laptop. I got to admit that. You could get a Windows laptop for a lot less, maybe anywhere from $300 to $700, maybe $300 to $1,000. A Mac laptop is going to cost you closer to $1,000 to $2,000 in price. But there are so many benefits that I'm discovering that I feel like it was a very worthwhile investment. So there's that part. The other thing is that so many of the programs and the software I use now has moved to the cloud. And by that I mean it's web-based. I don't really use a local web design software anymore. I use WordPress to run almost all of the websites I run. And that's web-based software that's installed on my web server, and I use that way with my web hosting company. I use Google Docs. I use Gmail for my mail. I use Google Calendar for my calendar. So much of the software I use is web-based and not installed locally that it means that suddenly I'm platform agnostic. It really doesn't matter whether I'm using a Windows PC or a Mac, as long as I can get online, or my iPod Touch for that matter. As long as I can get online, I basically can use all of the same programs and software that I use to run my business, to communicate. I use Twitter, I use Facebook, YouTube, all of the things that I use on a day-to-day basis to communicate, to stay connected, to collaborate. As long as I have an internet connection, I can get to any of this stuff. And that's huge, huge, huge. So that eased my transition as well from the Windows to the Mac. So there you have it. Those are my top reasons for switching from the Windows to the Mac. One of the reasons I also switched was because I do plan on producing a lot more multimedia content. That means videos, that means audio podcasts, more interviews, more information, more how-tos, more screencasts, a lot more information that I think you'll find of value by me teaching you and sharing what it is that I'm passionate about, which is how to use technology to free yourself from the office, to work from anywhere, to run your business online, run your business from anywhere, and benefit from the freedom and flexibility that comes from today's technology. So I think this Mac, the switch to Mac, is going to allow me to do that tremendously and make all of it a lot more fun and a lot more easy to use. So if you have any questions about switching from Windows to Mac, or you're on the fence about it, I'm still in the midst of the learning curve and in the sandbox with both hands in my shovel and my bucket. But certainly don't feel shy. Come by, post a comment, send me an email, ask me a question. I'd be happy to answer anything, and I will help you along, and I'll let you know through the series of videos and audio on what this transition has been like, the pros, the cons. I'll be honest with you, and what I find to be great and not so great about this whole transition. So there you go. There you have it. I'm enjoying it so far and loving my Mac. Phil Montero from the anywhereoffice.com talking about the big shift, switching from Windows to Mac. I'll see you soon.